Hello, Ray.
Hey, Mike, how are you?
Good. You're the roving. You're the News 12 roving reporter tonight. How are you?
Well, due to technical issues, I'm in an undisclosed location. So, how do I sound? Do I hear? You sound me okay? You hear me
You
okay?
sound great. You sound
You look
great.
great. You look great, Mike. Really
Thank you. I had
fabulous.
my teeth polished today.
Just for the show?
No, I'm just kidding. I did no, but we have a great show. Looking forward to the show, Ray. But first, before we do anything, I wanted to thank all the new followers and fans or whatever you want to call them to the show.
Yeah.
Um, on our Instagram, the Facebook, we're getting a lot of good feedback, so we're happy about that. And just wanted to welcome everybody on board. And
Hey,
thanks for
Mike. But thank you to everybody. Thank you. Echo Mike's statement about that. Thank you, everybody. But Mike, I think we need to just open the show, if you don't mind. With last week we had Darren on last Thursday, and then on Friday we all heard this awful news about two New York City police officers being shot, um, and both of whom died. Um, so I think it's just appropriate that we acknowledge their sacrifice. It's just a week goes by and you feel a little bit of hurt now, but at the time, it was true anger. I felt, and a lot of us felt that way. Um, Thank you to the families of those fallen officers. Thank you to those officers for sacrificing their ultimate sacrifice for all of us. Um, and yeah, I hope the new mayor, he has a plan. I hope he gets things under control. And just an awful, awful story. So wanted to mention that right from the outset.
Yeah, and the timing of that, Ray, couldn't have been more eerie. We were just talking to Darren about that, and just the next day that news came in, and it was unbelievable. So
Really sad news. And the second officer, as Mike, also donated his organs.
yes,
And
yes,
to be killed at that age, to be killed at any age, but I mean at that age, it's just awful. And for some crazy shit like whatever it was, domestic, whatever it was, it just
yeah, yeah,
makes no sense and hard to process. And I think that the feeling for those of us who didn't know the officers, the appropriate feeling is anger. Um, there is a little bit of hurt and a little bit of pain for us, but the pain and hurt should be reserved for the families. The rest of us should be angry, and we should remember that every single day. We should remember it when we go vote, and we should remember holding our politicians responsible and holding these criminals responsible, holding these
absolutely.
people responsible. So, but anyway, I don't want to, take away from the
Yes,
show. I just wanted to mention that from the outset.
yes. All right, so we want to welcome our first guest, Ray. I'm just trying to get things going on here too. Um,
Yep.
share, sharing it. So
So we're fortunate tonight, Mike, as you know, to have a friend of mine. She's running for Congress from the third congressional district, which pretty much covers all of the North Shore. It's a crazy district. We'll talk to Reema about this, but it goes from the Whitestone Bridge all the way east to Smithtown. Um, so it's a sliver that covers, what we commonly refer to as the Gold Coast. And Reema is running to replace Tom Swazi, who's running for governor. So it's a real honor to have her on, and let's bring her on, Mike.
bring her in. Hello,
Yep.
Reema.
Hello, Mike and Rae. Thank you so much for having me.
Hey, Reema, how are you?
I'm very good. How are you guys?
This is an exciting time. I was just sharing with the audience that you are a friend of mine, and I'm happy to see you running.
Oh, thank
Um,
you.
Happy to share the news of your campaign with people who may not have heard about it so far.
Thank you.
Well, let's talk about the district, Reema. It's a pretty crazy district, right? So you cover from, I think it goes as far west as the Whitestone Bridge, and I
It
think it
does
goes as
right to the Whitestone Bridge. You have Bayside,
right.
Little Neck, Great Neck coming in all the way east, hugging
Right.
the North Shore. So kind of like the water line,
Yeah.
Northern Long Island, to East Northport, Smithtown. So, and we are waiting for the relining,
Yeah.
which should be happening anytime now. So before this election happens, this district is going to be relined. There are rumors all over the place. Are we going to go more west? Are we going to go more east? Are we going to go north into Westchester? I've heard a lot of people saying that they might want to keep, with the water districts from Bayville to Larchmont.
Right.
They all kind of share the water line. And so they have that in common. And for one district, one congressperson to have, the kind of the responsibility for that. But right now, it's kind of unfortunate. The bipartisan commission did not come through on the relining, which is, I think, a shame, to be honest. And everything is still up in the air. And as we know, this primary is in June. And believe it or not, we don't even know the district line yet.
Well, you know what, Reema? I appreciate
right.
it. Sorry, Mike.
Oh, sorry. The graphic, Ray, that you told me. I want to pop that up real quick.
Yeah, let's put it up. Sure.
This is what you were just talking about here. So it. You're right. It goes sort of like from the Throgs Neck Bridge to, I guess it's Whitestone.
The Whitestone Bridge.
Let me see. This is a blown up one, I believe. Yeah, all the way to Smithtown.
Smithtown, Comac.
Yeah. What a crazy district.
I think a buddy of mine, Brian, just sent me a message about taking the gum out. This is a common theme about the show, my gum chewing. Okay, I'm going to stop, Brian. But anyway, the point is that one of the things I think the audience will love about Reema is how frank she is and unfiltered. And, she hit on something where the bipartisan commission is failing us. So whether you're a Republican or Democrat, think about the craziness of the system that people who are running this year in November for this district and other districts throughout the state and throughout the country don't actually know what the district looks like. So in Reema's case, she's running for an open seat because Swazi's leaving to run for governor. But had she chosen to run against an incumbent, okay, the odds are that the incumbent would be favored because most challengers are going to sit back and wait for the district to come out. Right. And during that time, the incumbent's just running and running and running. So when we talk about a broken system, let's please consider exactly what Reema said, the failures of the bipartisan commission.
That's right. I mean, and I think like in these past few days, we've seen a lot of statements from a lot of groups who were very invested, a lot of grassroots organizations, League of Conservative Voters, League of Women Voters. If we read those statements, it's just very discouraging because, we had a great chance to do something, I think, the right way. And they flubbed it. They couldn't come through. So again, as Ray pointed out, a very broken. Imagine we're running. We don't even know the line of the district yet, which to me is just completely is crazy.
I always ask the question why, but why don't they know yet? Why? Because it to different sides. I don't left, right. I don't care which one you are, but it always looks like there's room that they're playing around with and tampering. And that's why people are so, curious about, hey, could this thing be fixed? Could this thing be rigged? What are they doing?
Well, I mean, when they do things like this, that's what they make it look like, right? I think that's why I'm not a politician. I'm not a career politician. I'm a business owner. I'm a mom in the district. I grew up here. Ray and I know the same people. We grew up. It was kind of the same social group. The fact of the matter is that everyday people like me have to sit down and kind of think again and say, why? What is happening? Why can they not even get this together? Like, are they so worried about making sure that one team has a better chance that all of us in the process are just feel confused and disappointed?
Right.
Yeah. I honestly believe that our entire political system, left, right, everybody, the far left, the far right, it's the same thing. It's just distractions. It's like reality television happening in DC. And because of this, we don't see results. Our taxes are through the roof, right? Thank God that we're getting all this new infrastructure money because guess what? We need it. I mean, I honestly cannot say that the roads and, our infrastructure is better than they were when I was a kid. They were better when I was a teenager than they are now, right?
Yeah.
And so, what's happening? Where's all of our money going? One of the huge parts of my platform is our drinking water right here in Long Island. It's a shame that Long Island, we consistently are paying the highest taxes in this country. Consistently. We're on every highest tax list, every single one. Long Island, right? Nassau County, Suffolk County. And we can't drink water out of our taps. Our kids in Long Island schools have the highest lead content in drinking water. Our kids.
Right.
Why? Do you know what I mean? Like, why are we not taking care of things that are completely urgent for us right now? Forget the rest of it, our health, our water. This is Long Island. We have the Long Island Sound. We are making a mess of it with our outdated cesspools and sewage. I mean, it's not, when you really look into it, it's disgusting. And the fact that we are all just okay with, like, getting filters and getting another Brita and getting another filter on our house system, it's why we shouldn't be okay with this.
Yeah.
This is an emergency. Our drinking water is an emergency. Long Islanders, Nassau County, Suffolk County, as I said, it's not like we're not paying our fair share. It's that we're not getting our fair share back from the federal government.
That is a great talking point. It's a great point because, we know, not to put words in your mouth, Reema, but we know taxes here are going to stay high, right? We don't have any magic solution
Right.
as Democrats, or neither do the Republicans, by the way, when it comes to taxes,
Mm-hmm.
lowering taxes, but it's a value proposition, right? So if we
Mm-hmm.
accept that we're going to be paying higher taxes, we want to get as much bang for our buck. And so much of it is just reasonable everyday stuff like drinking water, clean drinking water.
Absolutely. I mean, I just feel that sometimes, we, the regular everyday people who are going to work, raising our kids, trying to leave the world a better place for our kids. That's what I'm trying to do. I feel like I grew up in the 90s and there was a lot of opportunity. And I don't feel like we're leaving opportunity behind for our children. I feel like we're kind of just breaking everything down and fighting like idiots, right? Over things that are irrelevant, right? And the real things like our drinking water, our taxes, traffic. Can we talk about, holy crap?
Right.
It's insane, right? Like it doesn't, there is no rush hour in New York anymore. It's always rush hour.
Always, always.
Always.
Reema, let me ask you a question. I guess this question, Rae, is for you too. So when you decided to run, was there one issue that said, I have to run and fix this? Or was it was the straw that broke the camel's back? Or what was it for you, Reema, that said, I have to get in this?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I ran locally in Nassau County Dems, Oyster Bay Dems last year for town council in Oyster Bay. And it was a really eye-opening experience of what candidates in New York deal with, Democratic candidates, especially local here in Nassau County. I think we know that it was not a good year for Nassau County Democrats at all. And it's not even that it was like a straw that broke the camel's back. It's just that I truly feel that we do not encourage everybody to run here. And I almost feel that, I feel very lucky. I was one of 2 South Asians on an all women's, the first all woman ticket in Nassau County for Oyster Bay. Amazing women. But I felt like it was a vanity. I don't think we really did any outreach to Asian communities. And it upset me, to be honest, because I was just like, we can be doing so much more. And we're not. We're just kind of playing along with what's supposed to happen. But what was supposed to happen didn't happen. Right? Like I'm being very like I don't know how to say it more clearly. Everybody lost. And I do think it's because we feel that we have to abide by these rules that, now it's your turn to run. Now you first have to do XYZ, then you're allowed to run. And you know what? Like, I'll be completely honest with you guys. I was at events, a lot of electeds. There were times I'd be in a room that electeds wouldn't even talk to me. Do you know what I mean? Like, and it's this like club of like either you're in or you're out. It's like elitist, and and I was just like, this is so ridiculous. This is not the Democratic Party that I want to, that I thought that I was a part of, right? I believe that in transparency. I believe that, all of us, every single person that lives in New York, every American citizen, if you want to run for office, you can run for office. You don't have to wait in line. You don't have to kiss someone's butt for 3 years before you can do it. If you have support, you have great ideas. I'm a businesswoman. This is my thing that I tell everyone. No, I'm not a career politician. Like, I am learning a lot. I study every day. I grew up in the Jericho School District. My kids are in the Jericho School District. I'm very invested in where we live, and I don't think that we are being represented the way we should be, with like a hyper local passion. And I think I'm not looking to be a senator tomorrow. I'm not looking for my next seat. I don't think that I ever will be president of this country, right? I think that we need somebody to fight for us in DC to bring our fair share back home to New York 3. It's not, I don't see it happening. And I honestly, there wasn't one point. It was just so many little things. It was just so many little things.
Yeah, see, because there's, I hate this word and I like this word, that rebranding. A lot of things that you just said, okay, you have Republicans, they don't want to hear it. I'm a Republican, I'm not a Democrat, but what you're saying right now is sort of like rebranding the word Democrat to some of the common sense things that you're saying will resonate with people that are, clear-minded and will vote the person and not the party. So I think that's a great. I think that's a great approach you have. Just saying, you're not playing party lines. You're just saying what's right, what's wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll be honest with you. I'm a minority candidate. I'm a Muslim American. I think that everyone is really sick of identity politics. I'll tell you, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. I think we're all American, and we all deserve to live well, and we all deserve to feel like we're leaving a better world for our kids. Right now, I have two kids. I have a teenager. I have a 15-year-old and a 12-year-old. My 15-year-old just talks about how nasty the water is all day. Oh, Mom, what is the water is so disgusting. What's up with Long Island water? It's disgusting, right? Or what are we doing to the planet? It's true. I think from the mouth, I think we should listen to our kids a little bit more. I think that they are, I get very happy when I look at our future, because I think that our kids have seen so much of this political correctness and, oh, you can't say this, and you're a liberal and you're a progressive and you're this. Enough with all these labels, enough with all this nonsense. Can we just talk about things that matter at the kitchen table? Can we talk about financial security? Can we talk about healthcare? Yeah. Can we talk about the fact that in Long Island, our seniors who have worked their whole lives paying taxes, living here, can't retire here? Do you know what I mean? Like, can we talk about that? It's messed up. Sure. Young families, we are not open for business. We are not. Why not? Do you know what I mean? Like, I just feel like.
When you label somebody, though, when you label them, it's a good way to divide them and have them pitted against each other. So, that's why they do that. So.
Absolutely.
One thing I wanted to ask about, Reema, as you know, I'm a frequent critic of our own party locally. And I do it with good intention, to be honest, because I want to make things better. And I'm saying that for the sake of our audience. I think some of whom may be watching are from the party. Friends of ours, friends of mine, friends of yours, some friends of Mike's as well. But you mentioned something about how if you're on the inside, you're encouraged, and if you're not on the inside, you may be discouraged and you may be shunned and stuff like that. Now, Mike and I are going to focus on this race carefully. One of the reasons why, because you have something going on here which we haven't seen a lot of in the past, which is that you have any number of Democrats running for this race. And to be honest, we hope to have some of them on and talk about it. I would hope that the party would encourage you and all the candidates to run, and I would hope that the party puts forth some sort of a debate or some sort of a forum where all of you guys who are running, all of you candidates who are running, could engage, so that those of us who are deciding, I don't live in the district, but if I did live in the district, I'd want to be able to know where you stand and where other candidates stand. So I'll just add my 2 cents that I really hope that the party supports your candidacy to the extent that it doesn't get in the way and that it allows for a fair race. Have you heard from the party? Have you heard from other candidates running for this race or not yet?
No. No, not a thing. I am very much an outsider, even though I was on the ticket last year. I wouldn't say that I've been encouraged in any way, shape, or form to run. Unfortunately, I don't know why, we're so scared of vigorous primaries. I think that is the best way to get voters engaged and excited and passionate about voting in the main election. Yep. I say the more the merrier. I've always been saying this, but there are a lot of things about, in general that I just disagree with. Primaries. And I think also campaign finance reform. It is really unfortunate that there's so many amazing candidates that don't even think about running because they know that they don't have the financial security, financial support network that could just pump money in. Our politics, it's fundraising, and then more fundraising, and then you get elected or you don't, but you keep on fundraising, right? It's
Right.
insane how
And,
much
and once you're elected, you start campaigning again.
right away.
Right away.
Right away. Like the day you sit down, you have your book, you start calling. I'm gonna need money. I'm gonna need your money. But I mean, it's just so sad. We have such amazing people. I think that I would be amazing leaders, amazing electeds, but they don't even, they know it's you. If you don't have money, if you don't have people that are going to write you big checks, you are dead before you start in this, and also it's like I'm in high school again, and I'm not part of the cool crowd. Let's put it that way. When I went to high school, I was very cool. I just want to make that clear. I want everyone to know that. But in this sense, no, I'm definitely very much an outsider. There have been electeds that have reached out to me, who have been very kind to me, who have been very supportive. But those have been few and far between, because I think there definitely is an idea that there are certain people who deserve this nomination because they've done XYZ. But I don't think that that's fair. And I don't think that's the American way. I don't think that's what this country was built on. I think that I want to see more people like me. I want my kids to see more people like me running. And that's why I'm running. I'm a business owner. I've employed people. I've failed. I mean, my business completely fell apart because of COVID. I have a lot of empathy for people that are struggling right now. I get it. I absolutely get it. I mean, I have stayed up nights without health insurance, without being able to afford health insurance for myself, for my kids, and worried and been, I've been so worried that, God forbid, what if something happens? What am I going to do? I'm going to lose everything. Right. Yeah. I think in the richest country in the world, we should not have a healthcare that's so dependent on employment. Especially, we saw what happened in this pandemic. I think Americans deserve Medicare for all. That's another big part of my platform. I don't look at it like a social service or socialist. I honestly look at it as a huge boost to our economy as an entrepreneur.
I happen, not to interrupt you, Reema, but I happen to share your opinion. But I was talking to my co-host Mike offline before, and we were kind of, we debate. We try to bring a balanced perspective. Mike, what did you want to ask? You said that some people.
Yeah.
Ask your question, Mike.
Okay, so the way, Reema, I'm going to tell you the intense research I do for this show. Okay, so I watched your commercial. Or, you had a little thing, right? So now, Medicare for all. You hear that term thrown around all the time from Bernie Sanders. You've heard it for a really long time. So now, as a Republican who could be swayed by either way on what's good for me, my family, and everything like that. And we had a couple of comments after last week's show when Ray brought up the topic of Medicare for all. So in layman's terms, can you tell me I have my own insurance through a private company. How would Medicare for all benefit me and everyone around us? Who'll pay for it? And, dumb it down a lot for me because I'm really not that smart, Well,
I don't believe that, number one, but this is how I see it. Okay. The same way our government pays for when you're 65 and above, right? Our government takes care of Medicare.
Okay. But let me just stop you there for just 1 second. Okay. So over 65 and above, and this is what me and Ray were talking about.
Yes.
So Ray brought up a point that there were people in your family, Ray, I guess, right. That it's tough now for them to, pay the bills pretty much because they just have Medicare. Is that right, Ray?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So, so they would need secondary insurance to cover what's not covered by Medicare.
Right.
Okay.
Dental,
so now,
vision,
right.
All of these things are not covered.
So all of the things that they have a separate policy for will be covered by Medicare for all?
So I believe in expanded Medicare for all, meaning including dental, vision, vision, dental, hearing. They're the three. Yeah. Here's my thing. I think that our lobby, our healthcare lobby for all these health insurance is making all this money. And I'm from a family of doctors. So I can say a thing or two about healthcare. My parents are both doctors. My brother's a doctor. I think, I've worked part-time in a medical office since I was like 11 years old because my parents were like, oh, you want allowance? come to the office and, do some filing and answer some phones. So I have a good understanding. My parents are still working. My brother works at Wyckoff Hospital in Brooklyn. I truly believe, and I've seen this, we are the lobby for healthcare insurances in this country is so strong. All the money they put in people's on all these politicians' pockets, all these. Why? Because they are milking it. They're getting money from our government too, right?
Right.
They are keeping our they're the ones making decisions for us. Yes, you're allowed to see see someone for mental health. No, you're not allowed. Who are these people making decisions for us? Also, right now, the way our healthcare system is, I think because so many people have issues and can't afford even insurances that they have. I have so many friends who pay for insurance who don't go to the doctor because God forbid they have like insane deductibles that they're scared of, right? So a lot right now, all of our healthcare is like reactive. It's reactive. Oh God, now I'm sick. Now I have to go to the doctor because God forbid I go to the doctor for my yearly checkup because I don't want to pay my deductible.
Right. See, it sounds like the whole medical industry needs to be revamped because, like I was explaining to Rae before, I'll go to a doctor, maybe have a procedure or whatever it is, and then I get my explanation of benefits. Okay, so on there they tell me it costs this much. Your insurance covered this. We'll just call it even. Why don't they just say what it costs, and then that's how you'll get the cost down, and that's how a Medicare for all can get approved, because it all has to come full circle and be fair for everybody.
And that's what I believe it is. We will save millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars as a country with Medicare for all. Also, think about it, okay? I'm an employer. I have 5-6 employees. I would love to give them health insurance, but guess what? My unemployment taxes, I'm paying so much, my unemployment taxes, my this and that. I'm paying unemployment tax. Then my employees are also paying taxes on the money that they're getting, right? And then I can't afford health insurance for them. I can't afford health insurance for myself. Right. It's insane how many amazing minds and entrepreneurs and people who could be doing this great stuff are stuck in crap jobs for the health insurance.
Right.
That's not good.
Absolutely right. And Americans, to echo Reema's point, if I can add, Americans understand Costco. We get Costco.
We get it.
If you wholesale, we get BJ's, we got Costco, Walmart, any of the big boxes. We all go. We all love them. The ones who don't admit it, they still buy online, whatever. We understand the idea of buying wholesale and in bulk, except when it comes to our healthcare. But you can imagine what a Medicare for all program would mean in terms of buying prescription drugs and what it would mean for the pricing. Cost, Mike is right. The cost of healthcare is really a core problem. But by increasing the buying power, the expectation, of course, is that you're going to be lowering and controlling costs to some extent. Not to say that it's a perfect system, but I obviously agree with you, so it's easy for me to chime in on this.
And also, I mean, do any of us think it's fair that we pay sometimes 80 to 90% more for the same medication that they're paying less for in Canada? Is healthcare, should we be capitalistic about people living and dying? Like for medicine, for insulin? I mean, I'm a capitalist. Do not get me wrong. I always tell everybody, my parents didn't come to this country for me to be a socialist. I believe in, everyone going out, killing it. That's why I love this country. This is, in my opinion, this is the only country in the world where if you really work hard, you have a great idea. It doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter who your parents are. It doesn't matter who you know. This is America. This is the country where you can do what you set your mind to do, right? The fact of the matter is that we have to take care of each other a little bit. I think healthcare is a human right. What happened to community, sense of family? We're talking about, God bless them, these officers, 22-year-old, 27-year-old who got killed, right, in Harlem last week. Yeah. It was a domestic dispute between a mother and a son.
Right.
What is happening? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that we have to come together as a country. We have to take care of each other a little bit. It's okay for us to be taking care of the more vulnerable in our society. That's why we are a society, And
I just want to ask one more question on this Medicare for all. So how do you explain to someone who's paying for their benefits, say they're in a union or say that they have very good benefits at a much lower cost than it would be for individual to get it. How can you sway them to say, okay, we're going to take that away from you, and now you're going to pay into a Medicare for all, where you'll be paying more out of your pocket, and I don't know if this is true or not, but they say, the quality of service will get worse. I don't really see how that is, because the doctors are still going to want to help. I get that, but how do you, sway people that way?
You're saying, like, for the people who are very happy with their health care,
exactly, and want to keep their insurance. Because, for example, when you were saying about the diabetic supplies, I know some people, that have insurance through unions that are able to order thousands of dollars of diabetic supplies at no charge, where people that really need it and the elderly can't afford just a month's worth.
That's right. And there are families with kids who have juvenile diabetes who are deciding between insulin and groceries, right? That's what's happening right now in America. I truly believe that that's a lot of PR from the healthcare companies, that, but your health insurance is better now, the one you're paying for. I think when everyone is on the same level and we have, excuse me. That was interesting. No, but I think when we're all on the same level, I think that people are generally happy with Medicare. Seniors, if you go and talk to them, they're very Medicare is we run a great health insurance, a great government run health insurance. If you talk to the American Physicians Association, the American Nurses Association, all of them are for Medicare for all. We have to listen to our professionals. There is a reason. I know that there's a lot of money going into the PR and, the messaging against Medicare for all. Right. But I think that if people really, really look at the numbers, it's a no-brainer of how much all of these big medications, all of these pharmaceutical companies, do you know who funds almost 80% of all of their research? The U.S. government. The U.S. government. We're funding them. And then they're coming back and screwing us on the prices, right? I think all of it has to be regulated by the government. We deserve Medicare for all. Pharmaceutical companies and their lobbies have to get out. Healthcare is a human right. Enough is enough with playing with people's health. And it's ridiculous, in my opinion, especially coming out of, not coming out of, we're still in COVID. We're still in it. Do you know what I mean? It's another, God knows what, Omicron. Someone was telling me today there's another something Omicron that they discovered in the UK. I think especially with this, we have to realize healthcare cannot be attached to employment. It's just not a good idea.
I'll say from my standpoint, amen. But yeah,
right. But so during this whole pandemic, when they said testing is free, vaccine is free, so everything was free then, and it worked. So there has to be,
that's right,
a common ground.
I just want to give a shout out to our military. I live near SUNY Old Westbury. I don't know if anyone needs a booster. If anyone is not vaccinated, we have an amazing, right in, it's Jericho, Old Westbury. It's kind of like we're right in the middle. At SUNY Old Westbury, we have a U.S. military run facility. You don't need an appointment. You go in there, you see when you go in there and you see how this is run, it's beautiful. Yeah. It's really great. It's really great. I recommend anybody, if you haven't gotten your booster yet, go to SUNY Old Westbury and get it done, and say thank you to our people who are there in uniform for us running this amazing free vaccination booster center.
And they're still offering the J&J there also.
Absolutely, yes.
With the Pfizer.
Reema, we can talk. I enjoy hearing you speak about this, and I share your opinions on this as well, your thoughts on this. But getting back to politics for a moment, let's lay out the calendar. We talked about the redistricting, but here we are approaching February 1st. The election obviously is in November, but what are the steps? So I think the average person actually struggles with the steps. So you're right now engaging in the primary campaign. And when is the primary? The primary is in June?
June 28th. June 28th is the primary. Right now, we have 5 candidates, 5 Democratic candidates in the primary.
Yep.
Who knows? More may jump in before June. But so we basically, as we all discussed earlier, we still don't know our line for the district, which is cutting very close. When you run for an elected office, you have to do petitioning. Petitioning is that you have to get signatures from your community in the district, telling people. You go around and you say, listen, I want to run for Congress. Will you sign this for me to get my name on the ballot? Right? We don't know when this is going to happen because of the relining not being done yet. So it's just kind of like, I don't know how to explain it. I just feel like it's like another layer of dysfunction.
It is. That's exactly what it is. It is dysfunction because whatever your politics may be, looking at this process where we're talking almost in February about an election that's happening in November, and nobody knows what the districts look like. To not think, whatever your politics may be, to not think that that's screwed up.
Yeah,
there's something wrong with that. I mean, this is a broken system, and if I can interject my opinion, controlled by a couple of people on the inside and a lot of sheep who follow. And I would reach out. I would ask some of our viewers tonight, maybe some people who are attached to the local parties, whatever, to ask more of our leaders because we deserve a better process. And I echo your sentiment completely, Reema, that let's support an open primary in your race. And the third district is interesting because you have so many declared candidates. We're not seeing that yet with the second district where I live or some of the other districts yet. But I would hope that the chairman and I'd hope that the party leaders encourage all the candidates to run. And I can't see why that they wouldn't, to be honest. So.
I can't see why either. As I said earlier, I think that it's part of our process. You know what I mean? You get candidates. We're all reaching out to different networks. We're all trying to get voters excited. The more candidates getting, the more voters excited. Hopefully, the more voter turnout and more passion for November. When it's the real race against whoever the Republican candidate is going to be, we want as many. This campaign that I'm running is very grassroots. We are. As you know, I'm not an elected official. We have a lot of amazing volunteers that have come through, a lot of moms helping me. We have a lot of high school seniors from the district who are volunteering and helping me. And I'll be honest with you, I think that it's one of the most scary things that I've ever done, but it's also one of the most rewarding things that I've ever done to just see people come together. I went to Catholic school in Old Westbury. I grew up with a lot of Republicans, right? And my friends, my Republican friends who cannot vote in this primary are still helping me, organizing for me. And they're like, you know what, Reema, like let's just talk about who's going to do the right thing for us. Who's going to do the right thing for us and for what reason? I understand that there are people that have donated a lot of money to a lot of candidates in the party. There are people that have been, in politics for decades. I personally believe in term limits. I think that, we just need fresh idea and fresh blood. I don't think that, sitting in one seat from the local all the way to federal, I don't think it should only be the president having 2 terms. I think that we have a lot of stale blood sitting around, not doing much because, they don't have to. They're not going anywhere. They're very comfortable in their seats. And unfortunately, from my town campaign, I did realize that we are not as civically engaged as we think we are here in Long Island. A lot of people don't even know that they live in a town, that they have a town board, that they also live in a village. Their village has a mayor too. It's like a layer on a layer on a layer of local government, and we have no idea what's happening.
Well, Reema, listen, we want to thank you for joining us tonight, and we invite you back on the show as we get a little further on to campaign. And let me also extend an open invitation. We're doing so privately to the other candidates running in this race. Some who've been a little bit receptive and some who may not be getting the message for whatever reasons. But this is a balanced show, and we're going to invite all the other candidates on the Democratic side and the Republican side. So, George, if you're watching, you're welcome here as well. Anybody else running on the Republican side. And, we hope to bring the perspective of just an open platform to people and let them decide. But Reema, thank you so much for accepting our invitation. And it was a pleasure to have you on
I just
tonight.
want to add real quick, Ray. So January 27th, I'm announcing I am backing Reema right now. She's my front runner. Okay. Until anyone else wants to come on here and prove me wrong. And not because my middle name is Reema. That's
Oh, we had some kind of connection, Mike. I felt that.
yeah. Well,
Thank you,
thanks again, Reema, for joining us. And like Rae said, anytime you're welcome. And it's been
Thank
fun.
you guys so much. I
Good to
really,
see
really
you.
appreciate it. Have a wonderful evening. Take care, guys. Stay
You
safe
too.
this weekend with the nor'easter.
Thank
Stay
you.
safe.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes, you
yeah,
too.
thank you. Thank
Yes,
you.
bye-bye.
Thank you.
Yeah, Rae, we're gonna have a weather update later too. I'm gonna give you. I'm gonna.
Listen, you know how I feel about the weather, Mike. When it happens, tell me when it starts to happen because this is a sore topic for me only because it's so hard to know what's true and what's not true. If people want to talk about fake news, let's talk about the weather. I hate that word, fake news, but
Yeah.
I will say that when it comes to the weather, it's so hard to know what's true and what's overhyped because they'll do storm watch on a Wednesday for a storm that's supposedly going to
Yes.
materialize on a Friday. And I'm not saying that this storm is not serious. It may be serious. I'm just
Right.
saying that we've gone through so many of these. We live in the Northeast. We live in New York. It's January. It's going to snow, folks. It's going to
Yes.
snow.
It's gonna snow.
You
No
know?
big, no big surprise there. But today, I heard something's developing in the Rockies. It has to come over into the Atlantic Ocean, marry this water, and come up the coast. So the European model has it dumping a lot of snow. The American model has it just dumping a little bit of snow. So maybe I'll go into my little meteorology lesson later for you.
Okay, I'll just share my opinion. The
Go ahead.
European model versus the American model is the excuse that the weather people use when they get it wrong, right? So
Yes.
they're going to
Yeah.
say, okay, well, we got it. We hyped this weather up, and it turned out that 1.5 foot of snow that we were expecting turned out to be 1.5 inches because the European model won. No, it's
Exactly.
not that the European model won. It's that you tried to get ratings by overhyping a snow event.
Yes.
And why I'm so passionate about it is I live on the South Shore, as you know. And so many people on the South Shore tune out the weather. And it's unfortunate because we're going to be smacked one day with something that's really bad. And there are going to be too many people who said, these people got it wrong all this time. I'm not going to pay attention. And they're going to probably lose their life because of it.
Right.
So as much as we could laugh about it, if you're in the weather business, I don't know anyone in the weather business who's watching us, but if you are, please just get it right. Please, without the bullshit, honestly.
Exactly. All right, right. Shifting gears a little bit. I know we're moving stuff around a little bit in this show
Yeah.
here, but we had a couple new segments to announce that we're going to be doing here on the rebranded The Long Island Show, which was to the point with Mike and Rae. It's really the same thing. We just gave it a new name, and we're going to put more stuff on here. So, real quick, I just want to. We were talking to Theresa. She couldn't be here tonight. She's a little under the weather. It's not COVID.
Yeah.
She's fine. But she's going to be on next week. But I want to bring on Andrew real quick. Okay.
Oh,
We do that real quick.
yeah, sure.
Let's see if with modern technology, if we can get this to work here. Hello, Andrew.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, Andrew, you're on with me and Rae. How are you?
Hey, what's going on? How are you guys?
Hey, buddy.
Very good. I don't know if you've been listening, but we just wrapped up with Reema, and we wanted to talk about some of the new segments we're going to be doing here on the Long Island Show. And we talked to you during the week, and you wanted to get on board with a Long Island outdoors type theme, and we're looking forward to working with you there.
Sure, absolutely. So, I mean, we're live on the air now, or
we're on the air.
oh, okay. Well, okay, not to sound. Hello.
Hey, Andrew, how are you?
I'm doing fine, guys. Happy to be on. Thank you for having me on. So, obviously, you guys know I do a lot of outdoor stuff. We do some wild game cooking and everything. We teach cooking lessons. We run a couple game parties and stuff on Long Island, off of Long Island, stuff like that. But in future shows, we're going to be doing segments on different areas where you can go outside. Maybe do a little hunting, a little fishing, and then the main thing is proper care of what you just took in. So if you went hunting, you harvest an animal, we're going to teach you how to cook it. A lot of the hunting shows out there don't teach you how to cook it. They just, they trophy hunt. We hunt for food. So we'll show you guys some cool little segments and stuff like that. And, we'll bring some of the other guys on from my show, From Field to the Fork, and we'll talk about some recipes, some family traditions and stuff like that.
Yes, I was just going to bring that up. Andrew has a show, Field to the Fork, and the guys are a bunch of. It's a whole lot of fun whenever they get together. You could tell it's a camaraderie of friendship and family and traditions. It's really fun to watch. So we're looking forward.
I'm looking forward to it too. I really enjoyed our conversation the other day offline, Andrew, and I was telling Mike that you're just an interesting guy with a lot of varied interests, and You know, some of us talk about the beauty of Long Island and so forth, but you know, you actually experience it, and I think you can enlighten us on some of the things that we're missing right underneath our, you know, we don't see it. I mean, some of us, we drive by and we say, wow, we live in a beautiful place, but when we consider the outdoors,
Yeah.
that's your passion, I imagine.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's definitely overlooked, you know, and as Long Island gets a little more populated and a lot of the, you know, the open land goes away, there are some places you just gotta look and you gotta be respectful of landowners and stuff like that. But there is a bunch of state land. There's Otis Pike out on Long Island. That's one of the biggest out in Wading River and stuff like that. So you can go out there, you can reserve like an area to go. You know, you can do whitetail deer hunting. They stock pheasants. You know, when pheasant season's open, it just ended the end of December. There's some bodies of water. You can go waterfowl hunting. There's rabbit hunting out there. There's turkey hunting on Long Island, which is very big. So there's, you know, it's a lot that it has to offer in your own backyard. And, you know, no reason to keep driving, you know, several hours away with gas and tolls. You know, it could be a small fortune if you want to go upstate or you want to go to another state. So to stay on Long Island, you know, you could definitely, you know, some of the, you know, you get a nice, you go cottontail rabbit hunting, you know, if you're lucky enough to harvest a couple rabbits, you know, cook them up. It's nice. You know, I'm a leader with the Boy Scouts, so we took a couple kids and we introduced them to a youth hunt that the DEC helped us put together, pheasant hunt. And the biggest satisfaction these kids got was at the end of the day was, you know, we showed them how to properly, you know, clean it, and we cooked one. And these kids went nuts for it, and it was nice. It was really nice to have them experience that, because it puts them back. It kind of grounds you. You know, you're not on your Xbox, you're not doing, you know, things, social media and everything. You're getting back to nature, and that's what's nice about it.
Yeah.
And you know what, Andrew, you gotta mention, we gotta do a segment at some point. Sorry to interrupt you, Mike. I know we got about 6-7 weeks worth of winter left. I know you mentioned on our phone call that you're cold weather camping, right? So I know some people are probably saying, shaking their head, being, what is that? But you got to do a segment on that, because I'm fascinated by that. You know, cold weather camping.
Yeah, I could definitely. Yeah, Mike, I got some pictures I could send you. You know, like I told you, we went out and we did a trip with some of the youth, and I thought we were going to have CPS, you know, knocking on the tent, looking at lots to pull up. You know, but it's all regulated. You know, there was nurses there. We had, you know, medical people on staff and stuff like that. If the kid at any time we felt it was, you know, hypothermic or something like that, you know, obviously there was safe measures and stuff like that. But you know, there's a lot of people that like to do it. And you get out there, you go snowshoe, you know, hike and stuff like that. We had the DEC come, and they did an ice rescue. They came with the truck. They had guys in dry suits and stuff like that, and they cut these big sections out of the ice with chainsaws, and they showed everybody, you know, like how dangerous it is to walk on the ice, and it was pretty cool. You know, I learned a lot. You know, when you think you know it all, you know, you learn a little bit more. So,
right.
I enjoyed that.
Well, listen, you know, thank you so much, Andrew, for being part of the show, and really looking forward to having you on a regular basis, and the segments you're going to do for us, and thanks so much. So, Mike, what's Andrew? Let's mention his show again. His show is called
Field to the Fork. It's a Facebook page. Is it a group, Andrew, or a page or a group? But they could find it on Facebook.
Yeah, the Facebook page, Field to the Fork. I am on Instagram, one word, Field to the Fork.
Right.
I am on Twitter, but we do post more on Facebook and Instagram than any of our other accounts.
Yes. Yeah. A big Instagram following you have. That was very impressive. So that was good.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. And we're just figuring that stuff out. It's like me and Ray are like cavemen. I always say that we just found fire, you know, but yeah, thanks again.
I just feel guilty, Andrew. Yeah, Andrew's talking about the cold weather camping, and I'm obviously sitting in my car for the reasons, and I have it at a balmy 82 degrees right now. So the idea of cold water camping, cold weather camping.
Waiting for the aluminum blanket to come out, Ray.
I'm telling you, I'm always cold. So, you know, but thank you so much, Andrew, and we're looking forward to having you on maybe next week. We'll see.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yeah, and
not a problem. Next week we'll have some little appetizers, some stuff I've been working on. Actually, you know, if we get some snow this weekend, I'll be in the test kitchen playing around with some recipes and stuff like that. So hopefully I'll have some maybe we'll have some appetizers for that we could put out for Super Bowl weekend.
Right. And real quick,
spread.
Andrew also works with a doctor on cooking healthy meals for just eating better. Is that right, Andrew? Dr. Roberto?
Yes. Actually, Dr. Roberto, actually, I gave him your number today. He's going to call you because he wants to sign on. He wants to start a show. We started doing he's got his own little cooking show. He's been on YouTube for a while, and he was on closed circuit just for his patients in his waiting room and another doctor's waiting room. And it was La Cucina di Roberto. And I hooked up with him over the summer. He did a whole show on wild game cooking, and put the videos out. He got we got very good reviews from his patients. They liked them, so we've been shooting a bunch of videos. Actually, I'm doing one next week. We're doing a Valentine's Day video on. We're doing bites and burgers. So I'll as soon as that's up and posted, I'll let you guys. I'll let you know, Mike, and you guys can take a look at it. But he wants to talk to you about he and I doing a podcast called Drew in the Dock.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, definitely. We'll talk during the weekend, or what is it, Thursday during the week, over the weekend, I'm sure at some point, and figure all that out.
Thanks so much, Andrew. Great
all right,
having you
Andrew.
on board.
Take it easy. Welcome. Be safe, and we'll
take care, guys.
We'll talk to you soon. Take care, Andrew.
All right. Take care, guys. Thanks.
Yeah, no, Andrew's a real fun guy.
Yeah, he's an interesting guy. I would say I enjoyed.
Something I want to talk to him about that he said last week was it's all about traditions and keeping the family traditions going. That was very interesting. We'll get into that.
He's definitely a man of very, very varied interest, and I enjoyed speaking to him offline. That was a fun conversation. So, and Mike, and here we are at the end of our show. But before we go too much further, we know we have another week of crazy news related to COVID, and masks and mask mandates, and the schools and the kids and all that kind of stuff. So, do we have Jen on board?
Yes, the queen of masks, America's social worker. Here she is. Hello, Jen.
Hello. How are you?
How are you?
I'm well. What a week. What a crazy week.
Where are we, Jen? What happened in the last week since we've spoken?
Okay, so this past Monday, a judge had a Nassau County Supreme Court judge had ruled that the mask mandates were done illegally. So that they were to be stopped. So by Tuesday morning, about 50% of the school districts on Long Island had notified the families that they were going to become mask optional. And I would say about the other 50% of the schools decided to keep the masks in place because they knew that that Governor Hochul and New York State was going to file an appeal. So sure enough, by Tuesday afternoon, the appeal was filed and a stay was put in place, meaning that they had to reinstate the masks and that the masks need to stay in place until the appeal process is completed. So tomorrow the appellate court is going to hear the case and hopefully reach a decision by tomorrow about whether we're going to continue to enforce the masks or not. That's the long and short of it. I'm giving you the very edited version of what happened this week.
The Cliff Notes.
Yeah. I mean, listen, it's an ongoing, developing story that keeps changing by the moment. As a parent, I have no idea what to do. We were talking a little bit about this earlier, and we hope to have some guests on next week to share their opinion about masks and how it relates to our children. But I am somebody who's on the fence about it, to be honest with you. But I don't know what the right answers are. I'm a little bit more clear when it comes to adults, because I think that mandates don't work with adults. And I think adults have the right to make their own decisions. I just think that you have to present data to people and let them make their own decisions as an adult. With kids, I'm a little bit more cautious. So I don't know where I fall on the issue, but it's certainly confusing to say the least, huh?
It's very confusing. And I wish what would have happened is that the judge who made the ruling, the Supreme Court judge who made the ruling on Monday, would have put a stay in place right away, knowing that this was all going to be appealed. I think that would have cut down on a lot of the chaos that ensued, and it would have given the schools a chance to put a plan in place and to prepare the kiddos for possibly becoming unmasked. There needed to be a plan. The teachers need to have that conversation with the kiddos that some of the kids may come in with masks where others may not. And that it's now going, that it would become parental choice. So there was no plan. The ruling was made on Monday. Parents were notified late Monday night. And then by Tuesday morning, people were sending their kids into school without the masks. And from what I understand, from what I hear from some of my colleagues who are advocates, education advocates, that of kids who were being bullied for wearing their masks. There were kids being bullied because they didn't wear the masks. So it's just caused such upheaval. And I'm really looking forward to tomorrow to see what the conclusion of this will be.
If I could just share an opinion, Jen, I think that those people who disagree with whatever side you might fall on, unmasked, mask mandates, wherever you fall, I would implore people to remember that the people working on the Board of Education for local districts are, in most cases, are elected, but they are not earning a salary. They are volunteer members who got elected. I have many friends. I've got several friends who are on boards of various school districts, and I've seen some of the craziness that's gone on now for months and months and months. And as much as I can respect differing opinions on the issue, I would say this much: if you're going to a Board of Education meeting and you are intending on terrorizing, and that's exactly the right word, terrorizing members of the boards because they don't agree with you, there's something wrong with you. And I've watched some of these meetings, some of the local meetings I've had, and there are parents who have never been involved in any aspect of education whatsoever who are using this issue as a political thing. And I think that I'm on the fence. I can see both sides of the argument. I think I know which way I lean, but I would say that people going to board meetings and being disrespectful and attacking Board of Education members are pathetic. And I look forward to that changing and that stopping hopefully soon. But it's got to stop from within, so don't go to Board of Education meetings threatening people. Don't say stupid stuff. And I think people are acting in the best interest of children, even if there are differing opinions. I think that we all have the best interest of our children at heart. So I would implore those people who are doing those things to really stop. It's sad and it's pathetic.
Yeah, the thing with mixed signals for the kids, right? So the other day, the day they said, masks, no more masks. Mm-hmm. That night, I went to the Islander game, right? I told you I went to the hockey game, and you have 13,000 people there. I'd say maybe not even 10% of the people are wearing masks. So you have kids from 5 to 10 to 12, no masks. But now the next day they go to school, they have to wear the masks. What emotionally is this doing to the kids, Jennifer? That may be long-term effects, in your opinion?
On so many levels, it's emotionally affecting them. I think that they're confused, for one thing. Why is it they don't have to mask up in other places, yet when they go to school they do? I think that it hinders a lot of the social emotional learning that kids need to have in the school setting. And don't even get me started on what happens with kids that have special needs, how they try to cope with wearing the mask and having teachers who are wearing masks. It hinders the learning. We could do a whole show just on how I think the mask is just such a problem for kids. And my point of view at this point, I think that as long as we're not in a crisis, as long as we're not in a viral season, I think that it's time for the masks to come off. Or I think it's time to put parent choice back on the table and let parents decide what's best for their children.
How are the numbers, Jennifer? Do you know? I didn't look at the numbers
They
today.
continue to go down. They continue to go
But-
down.
Can I share something? My kids were out of school for a year. They were homeschooled for a year. Not homeschooled. The homeschool means that they're out of the system. They were remotely learning, right? Remote learning. And in the year that they were out of school, they didn't get sick once, not once. Now, as I'm doing this podcast, I have a son of mine who's got a temperature of 101 at home, and he had COVID 2 weeks ago. He tested positive for COVID 2 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago, and recovered from it. Now, as much as I want to believe that there's no way in the world that he could possibly have gotten COVID a second time within 3 weeks, tomorrow he's going to be at the doctor's office getting tested for it. So I understand the negative connotations about wearing masks and the concerns about wearing masks, but I also know that I don't want my kids getting sick. And until somebody can assure me that that's not going to happen, I'm not so sure that I don't want them masked, to be honest with you. And, I guess it's differing opinions on something, but, having it be this piecemeal approach where it's going to be let parents decide doesn't account for how kids actually act in school. If a kid doesn't have to wear a mask, some kids don't, some kids do. What do you think is going to happen to the kids who have to wear who choose to wear masks? I was a high school kid. We all were. And you know what I would do? I wouldn't be wearing a mask, and I would be making fun of the kids who are. That's exactly Ray Aurora in high school. And anybody
and
watching
taking
the
their
show,
lunch money.
and taking their lunch money and calling them names and calling their parents names and saying, you're a mama's boy, you're a daddy's girl, you're this, you're that, because you're wearing a little mask. And that kid, I guarantee you, the 17-year-old Ray Aurora would have been able to get that kid to take a mask off, and I would have enjoyed every minute of it. The unfortunate part is that that same person might get sick from it. So as much as I understand the concern about unmasking and forcing directives, I think we also have to be cognizant of the fact that there's a certain unknown factor here. And I would personally choose having the kids being masked while also having them go to school. I like them going to school. I don't like the remote learning as much.
Right.
But like I said, I can only share my opinion based on my children's. I got a kid with 101 and sick twice in the last 3 weeks. From what?
No.
I don't know.
Ray, let me ask you a question. So, like Jen said, the numbers are going down or whatever. What voice would it be that you hear that will give you the all clear sign? I mean, is it something that if Fauci came out tomorrow and said,
No.
we don't need masks anymore?
I don't pay attention to him. I mean,
No,
listen,
but
I respect him. Yeah.
Where would, like, if Hochul said, okay, enough's enough with the masks, would you say, okay, you're not going to send your kids, or would you still send your kids with the masks?
I mean,
for a
listen,
while?
I just don't see where. I don't know. I think that it's a fair question. I mean, I don't know. I think that what would it take for me to think that we're back to normal? If that's the right question. I mean, I don't know, Mike. I'm all over the place. All I can tell you is that when they were out of school for a year, they didn't get sick once. Now that they've been in school, they've missed in the last 6 months of school. They've missed 3 weeks of school, including most likely tomorrow. And I understand that we all want to go back to normal, and we all want to, pretend like there's nothing going on. But is that actually? I'm okay with it with adults. I would not force anybody to wear a mask. I wouldn't force you to get vaccinated. I could give a shit, honestly, if you want to do those things, because if I'm vaccinated, the science tells me that I'm okay. So whether or not you get it or not, I don't care. And I can laugh and I can see the hypocrisy. If I go out and get a beer or get a drink or get a bite to eat, I'm wearing the mask on the way in. As I'm eating and drinking, I'm not wearing a mask. I'm laughing, I'm sharing things, whatever it may be. But I'm a little bit hypocritical, or I'm a little bit different when it comes to the kids, because I think that we need to be cautious. That's just my opinion. But I understand what you're saying, Jen. I just think that there's a little bit of room for differing opinions on the topic, to be honest.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And for every parent that wants their kid unmasked, there's a parent that wants the mask on. So even just on this show, right? I would probably let Jesse not wear the mask, whereas Rae, you feel you still want your kids masked up. So again, it's all about parental choice. And what I think is happening too is that COVID is now moving to be endemic, and we're moving out of that pandemic category. And hopefully, COVID will just become an annoyance, an annual annoyance like the flu, and won't be something that stops life on an annual basis. And perhaps that's when maybe the kids need to mask up, is when we have our cold, during the cold months, when it's viral season, again.
Let's let the adults be the guinea pigs. Let's let the adults be the ones who bear the brunt of it. And I hope you're right. I hope that's exactly what happens. I hope that even if we know this word COVID for a long time to come, that it becomes something akin to the flu, that it becomes a seasonal thing. But in my view, let's let the adults be the guinea pigs. I don't look forward to wearing masks. I avoid them like the plague. And in many cases, I curse under my breath when they force me to wear a mask. I will be the first person in line to say, let me be a guinea pig, and let me get COVID, and let me deal with it, and hopefully I'll survive, and whatever, we can test out whatever you want to test out on me or on people like me. But with our kids, I don't know. We're asking a lot to say, you know what, guys, let's go back to normal and let's pretend like everything's okay. And you might get sick, but let's hope that it's not so bad for you, and you'll get over it. But what about that one kid or those two kids or whatever it might be who don't get over it? Are we going to say, well, you know what, my kid's all right, so screw you? You know what I mean? That's what I don't understand about this debate, where why are we fighting a political battle with our children? Why don't we fight the battle amongst us adults? That's my own opinion. So, I'm sorry if I'm passionate about it, but I just, I fail to understand why it is that we're doing this with our children.
Yeah. And you know what, Rae and Jennifer, I apologize. For some reason, the comments aren't working. People are commenting, but they're not showing on the side. So I apologize to everybody that put a comment or question up that we didn't see, or well, at least that I didn't see.
Were there any questions?
Rae, you are exactly right. Whatever you just said, Rae, that just popped over. Let's see. I'm just trying to backtrack here. And
that was my mom. Was that my mom?
No, actually, it was my mom. Mom.
Oh, okay. And my mom.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Well, if anyone else pops up, because I'm actually looking at it in the group, it's just not coming up on the side of this over here. So I didn't see them. So
I can understand. And again, I apologize. I can understand differing opinions on all this stuff, but I just feel like, what gets me most upset is, thinking about the Board of Education members who are being harassed by groups of people with whatever their beliefs might be on either side. Listen, run for office, run for your, be inspired by all of this and run for office, run for your seats. It's easy to show up. It's easy to have a tough day at work and go to a Board of Education meeting and just mouth off like some of these people are doing. It's tough to be somebody who's on the Board of Education of one of these districts and sit there and have to take some of this bullshit. And I've watched videos in the last few days where that's exactly what they have to do. They have to be professional, and they can't speak the way I'm speaking now. They have to take it, and it's unfair. And people who have a big mouth about this should run for office. Do it. And whatever your beliefs might be, if you're in favor of mandates, if you're not in favor of mandates, get on your school board, and let's see how it all shakes down. But yeah, I'm thinking about a few people in particular and a few videos I've seen in the last few days, and maybe I should shut up right now, but that's what I have to say.
Okay, Jennifer, here's a question. I apologize. I can't put it on the screen for some reason. It's just not coming up. But as a social worker, how would you handle a child who is fearful of giving COVID to their family because other kids in their class aren't wearing masks? Unfortunately, this is a new reality in our schools.
Yeah, it is. It is. And there
So
are,
how would you handle a child who is fearful of giving COVID? I'll break it up. How would you handle a child who is fearful of giving COVID to their family because of other kids not wearing masks?
I think there are going to be kids that are empathic, or that are very sensitive, or are very emotionally smart kids that are going to be afraid that they're going to carry COVID to somebody that may not survive it. It is communicating with that child that this is just the way it is right now, and that it would not be their fault if something like that had occurred. I want to say too, at the end of the day, my whole family, the three of us had COVID right before the holidays, and I cannot pinpoint for the life of me where we had gotten it from. And my son too was afraid, he was very upset. He was the first one to show symptoms. And then he was very upset that my husband and I had contracted it. I, for the life of me, don't really know where we got it. So I think that as much as we try to contact trace, we don't know and who's breathed on us. So I think that being honest with our kids and communicating the imperfectness of COVID and figuring it all out is going to be really important.
Right. And then you have the incubation period. Does it take longer maybe in certain people for it to come out than others? So who got it first? That's a tough one. Let's see.
Mike, can I share a story with you, Mike? I
Yes.
had a former, I can say it now because I'm liberated. I'm a free man. I'm liberated. I had a former employer of mine, a former boss of mine, very recently, up until very recently. Anyway, when COVID happened, I've chosen to be pretty even keeled about this whole thing. I've lived my life. I go out. I've gone grocery shopping throughout. As I've said in other shows, I don't think COVID scares me personally for my own health, for whatever reasons, however misguided it might be. But I can tell you that I watched this person react to COVID when it first happened, and he was extremely paranoid. He wanted us all to wipe down. He was wiping down he got mad. He was wiping down the handlebars on doors and stuff like this, and cleaning glass, and had the Windex, the Pine Sol, everything was all out. And what are you doing? You got to be careful. You got to do this. You got to do that. Well, he got COVID. Yeah. And when he got COVID, he had a relatively mild case of COVID. And once that happened, he was over it. And the reason why I mention it is not because I have sour grapes, which I do, but that's another story. I mention it because my whole point is that there are a lot of people in this world who've gotten COVID who it hasn't affected them adversely, or it was just a mild case. And then they make this judgment, whether it's a wrong judgment or not, where they say, okay, well, it must not be anything.
Right.
But then you've got the numbers and you say, wait a minute, we're approaching what? Is it almost 1 million Americans have died from this thing?
Yeah.
So the challenge is to say, even if you've gotten COVID, for any person who has gotten COVID, I may have had it. I don't really know. I've never gotten tested. I don't know. I was sick once. I don't remember, But my whole thing is that, people sometimes say, well, I've gotten COVID and I got over it, so it must not be a thing. Well, God bless you and good luck to you. But what about the people who can't say that?
Right. And
that is the challenge, is to not make a singular judgment. A judgment's just based on your own experience with something like this. That it's sometimes it's a confusing thing, and I'm confused by it. I just don't think that we should,
Yeah, Ray, you can't dispute that a lot of people died from this.
And a lot of healthy people.
A lot of healthy people that had underlying conditions maybe they didn't know about. I just read something that 3/4 of the people were elderly, older, but still, that's 1/4 that aren't. That's still a lot of people. You know, it's not 10 people. It's 200,000 people that
I hope we get a new generation of kids who study data and data science and so forth. Because you know
Yes.
what? It's like there was a book that I read years ago called How to Lie with Statistics. There are statistics that you can use to, and I'm not saying that was a lie. What I'm saying is that we can use data to make this into the biggest thing in the world ever, or we can make it into the smallest thing. And we can
Right.
pinpoint data or whatever. I've always focused on hospitalizations and deaths, you know,
Right.
but even then you got to look at the numbers, because sometimes if a person dies in a car accident and they had COVID, you know, I have a joke with a buddy of mine. Did they die because the car crashed into another car, or did they die because they had COVID? How do we know how they're counting it? Right? That's a fair question. How do we count the numbers?
Right.
But you know, it's like, I just wish we'd all understand that it's what was Seinfeld, a show about nothing. Like,
Show
when
about
it comes to COVID, why don't we just all accept that none of us have all the answers? You
right.
know, and
And,
I change my
No,
mind every day.
imperfect. You're
And
right. We don't have the answers.
real quick, Jennifer. So there were 2 more comments. Some kids have lost family members to COVID and are traumatized by it. It's a complicated issue. That was going back to before about how the child is fearful about giving it.
Yeah.
And then we didn't contact trace to find out where we got it from. It was to make sure others who were exposed to a positive case were made aware that they were exposed. I guess that's why they contact trace. You know, to tell people, okay, watch
Right.
out, you were exposed.
Right. Well, yes, with contact tracing, you want to alert people who you've been in the path of, but there's also a level of trying to figure out where you may have contracted it. But again, just to go back to that question, it was a great question, but I think it's soon to be a reality, because for how much longer are the people going to tolerate the mask mandates? People are not tolerating them anymore. So eventually it's going to be a reality. And we're going to have to work with the kiddos to process all of these new norms, I guess, these uncomfortable norms.
Yeah. And look up the numbers for today. Yeah. I don't know, Ray. What do you? Yeah, actually, it dropped drastically. Only
I'm looking right now. So
645 new cases today, where last week it was 5,195.
you know, it's regrettable. It's regrettable that this has become such a political thing. And to be fair, to call it right down the line, you know, there are some people who have been so overly focused on COVID, in my opinion, and overly paranoid about certain things. I see, I'm on the road a lot. I see, at least I would say once a day, I see somebody driving a car with a mask on and there's nobody else in the car with them. And I just kind of like, I crack a joke to myself, or if I'm on the phone with a friend, I make a joke with them and I say, you know, look at this idiot, or something like that, you know? Like, I don't understand that. You're driving in a car by yourself and you're wearing a mask. That doesn't make any sense to me. You know, there is a certain middle ground approach, I think, to a lot of these things. And as I've said, Jen, I'm not in favor of mandates in general. With the kids, I think a little bit differently, but I think that, you know, we look at the data and I'm not sure that we're quite past this, but I think that, you know, maybe we will be sometime soon. I hope. I don't know what else to say.
I hope so too.
You know? Yeah.
You know.
So
Anyway, another good update, Jen. Thank you so much, and looking forward. We got a good show next week as well, and I'm sure this is still going to be in the news next week, so we'll have more to talk about.
Yes.
And we have a lot we didn't get to, Ray. We'll save it for next week, so I'm sure it'll still be relevant then too. So,
I got a surprise for you next week, also, Mike. So
I like surprises. I do.
I hate surprises. It
Do
drives
you
me
really?
crazy. Surprises? Oh
Yeah.
No, I get all like, I'll need to talk to Jen because I get all
Anxious.
panicky, anxious. When someone says they have a surprise, no. If you ever tell me that, Mike, what I just did to you, if you ever did that to me, I would be calling you every minute for the next week, asking you, what do you mean you have a surprise for me? Because surprises to me have never been a good thing. So maybe that's what it is. But I do have a surprise for you, and it's not so bad.
One episode coming up. We have to get Ray on the couch.
Oh my God. I don't know what you mean by that. It took me a minute
to psychoanalyze you. Not,
for a minute there, I was getting.
Yeah. No. I mean, I'll hang out with you in the room while you're laying on the couch.
Listen,
You know,
that would be a very expensive session because I got lots of issues. But Jen, thank you so much for of course being with us, and
You're
have a
welcome.
great week, and we'll talk to you next week.
And buy your milk and bread for the storm.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm going to give my prediction coming up next, so stay tuned.
All right, wait, hold on. What do we? Okay, forget about what the news says. I haven't even watched the news. What are you predicting, Mike? Let's see how close we get. What do you get?
I'm
What do you get?
predicting 5 to 7 inches of snow, ending by Saturday afternoon, 3 p.m.
All right, but hold on. On the Central Park reading, or where are you picking? What spot?
In front of my house.
Okay, 5 to 7.
I don't care who else gets it. I just don't want to shovel that much. So, yeah, 5 to 7 is my guess.
By the way,
And
when
that's
they talk
high,
about
and that's on the high side. I'm more like 3 to 5, but I'm giving it 5 to 7. I'm going on the over on that one.
why don't they ever tell us what the snow content is? Like, we all know, being from the Northeast, that when it's that white, light, fluffy stuff, even if it's like 5 inches of that, it doesn't really count because you just shovel it. But if it's that cold, that wet, heavy rain type snow where it's like
Heart
slushy, you know what I
attack
mean?
snow.
Yeah. Like, even if that's only like 3 inches, you're right. That's like heart attack snow. The 3 inches of that means like it's almost like the equivalent of like 8 or 9 inches of the fluffy stuff. I always wonder, like, why don't they tell us after it snowed, like what kind of snow we got? But whatever. I'm very critical of the weather people, as you know. I'm gonna go with 4.
Okay, 4 is good.
Jen?
I go with 6 to 8.
You guys are hedging with these ranges, but okay, 6 to 8.
Oh, you want exact? Okay, I'll go like the Price is Right. I'll go 5.
And Price is Right rules work, so you go over.
Yeah, you can't go. Oh, wait a second. You know what, Ray?
When you get it wrong, Mike, please don't mention the European model. Be like, oh, well, it shifted to the European model and the American model.
Well, I
want the Long Island model. I want the real, no bullshit. Just give me how much it's going to snow, please. Come on.
Okay, real quick on the right hand side, Ray. All the comments just popped up. So I'm sorry to everybody, but everybody said hello. And I don't want to blame them. I don't want to blame. I just read something says blame COVID, right? I'm not sure really where that came in, but there's so many comments. Our friend Vittorio says hello, so I apologize to everybody who I couldn't get the questions on, but thanks for sending them.
We're working on. We're a work in progress, and but we're gonna get it down to a science sometime soon.
Yes.
So, anyway, great show, guys,
Yes.
And.
Yes. Get home safe from that undisclosed location, Ray. And I'll talk to you soon.
I'm hiding from the snow. I'm running from the snow.
All right.
See you soon.
Thanks
Bye.
for watching again. And please share it, like it, do whatever you got to do. And we have new credits, so stay tuned for the new credits. We'll see you all next week.
Real quick, if anybody who's watching is actually running in that 3rd congressional race, you have an open invitation. I think we mentioned earlier. Please come on the show if you're interested. And if you're not, then too bad for you.
Reema wins.
Reema wins, right?
Yes, exactly.
Thanks, Reema, for coming on also. Thanks
all right.
very much.
And good night, everybody.
Okay.
Bye.
Let me get